Hey, I'm Daniel, and in this video, we're going to talk about how you can get approved for any credit card, and even if you do get denied the credit card, what you can say to make them reconsider your application and end up giving you the card anyways. And if you can take like 10 minutes to watch this video, you can use this strategy to get started with whatever credit card you want, and then you can use this strategy to actually get any other credit card you want. And the more credit cards you get, the easier it is actually going to be to continue getting more credit cards. And while some credit cards, like ones with $500 annual fees and $10,000 minimums like this one here seem off limits to normal people just because they're so exclusive or expensive or the limits are so high, they're actually really easy to get if you know exactly what to say when you call up the credit card company. Now, just to clarify, I personally am not recommending anyone get into credit card debt because credit card debt is really bad. You don't need to go into debt to use a credit card and reap all the benefits of a credit card. But if you don't know what all those benefits are or really how credit cards work and how most people use credit cards and the banks that issue the credit cards to their advantage to get a bunch of free perks and consumer protection and all the other benefits that come with it, I will leave a free link in the description for you. It's a playlist link on YouTube. You're not going to go anywhere with it. I'm not going to sell you anything with it. It's all free, and it's just a bunch of my videos trying to explain how credit cards work. And if you want to check that out, I think you'll learn a lot. Now, if you're already familiar with how credit cards work, you probably know when you apply for a credit card, one of three things could happen. The first is that you get approved and you get a message saying that you'll get your credit card. The second one is saying that you'll get a message that you are denied and that you won't be getting the credit card. And the third one is saying that they are going to have correspondence to you in the mail in 5 to 7 business days, and that's just getting denied with extra steps.
Well, that just sounds like slavery with extra steps.
So if you got that message saying that you will be notified by mail, there's really no reason to wait. You may likely be getting denied, and you should probably just rush through the next step of the process before it's too late. Now, this strategy will also work if you got approved for the credit card. Maybe you just want a higher limit. But if you got denied, or if you got that notice saying that you will get a letter in the mail in 5 to 7 business days with your denial, this strategy is for you. And so we're going to take it step by step. Now, I do actually have another disclaimer. If you got denied for a credit card, it is possible that there is a good reason the bank decided to deny you for this credit card. For example, if you have a 450 credit score, if you've had a bunch of credit cards that you never paid off in the past, and if your general usage of credit cards is not really healthy, there is probably a good enough reason for the bank to decide not to give you another credit card. And if that's the case, I highly recommend you stop right here and don't follow this strategy, because you likely don't need another credit card. You need to figure out exactly what the issue was in the past that caused all of these previous problems with your credit. And if you're looking to build your credits, I will again leave that link in the description for you. It's about credit cards, but it'll also show you how to use different financial instruments to be able to better build your credits so that you can start using credit cards again in a really healthy way. But if you're a regular person with like a regular 700 credit score, there is absolutely no reason you should be getting denied for any credit card. Theoretically, you could get almost any credit card if you have at least a 700 credit score or somewhere around there if you know what to say. And if you do get denied, or maybe you get that letter telling you in 5 to 7 business days you'll get denied, you need to call in and you need to make them reconsider. You can do this by calling the financial institution's number for their reconsideration line and talking to like an actual human being on the other side of the line who's going to reverse this decision for you and get you the credit card that you were initially denied for. Like, guys, the power of the reconsideration line cannot be overstated. It has so much of effect on whether you get approved for a credit card or whether you don't. And in the credit card community, it is actually really common to call the reconsideration line. And I understand, as someone who's never called before, why it can be kind of intimidating, because you just got denied for a credit card and now you're calling the same people that denied you, trying to change their opinion, but it's really not that complex. But I promise, this is really common practice in the credit card community for credit card nerds like myself who have the Chase reconsideration line saved as a favorite literally on his iPhone, or If you don't have the Chase reconsideration line saved on your iPhone and you consider yourself a credit card nerd, you probably have American Express or are lying to yourself about how much you really love credit cards. But I promise it is really common and it's really painless. And even if you don't get through the consideration line the first time, maybe they deny you a second time, you can actually continue calling over and over again until you get a different representative, because there are thousands of people working in these call centers, and every time you call, it's going to be someone new, and eventually someone will be able to approve you on the other line. Now, just a few tips for you guys when calling the reconsideration line. I think it's really important to mention that the tone that you use and the type of conversation you have with the person when you first call is going to be really important. You want to use something that really lets them know that you're serious and you understand what's going on, but you're also not too upset about it. I mean, these guys work in call centers all day. They deal with phone calls every single minute of their entire workday. So I'm sure that it's a really stressful environment. So if you can be that one caller that makes it a really easy phone call for them, they'll probably get you to reconsider and get you the credit card that you're looking for. And so if you're a millennial and you actually were able to do the hard thing, which is pick up your cell phone and use it to make a phone call and overcome the social anxiety that comes with that, I feel like I need to give you some props and also maybe some advice on what to say to the person. Now, the first thing is you want to be on your best behavior. These guys work at call centers all day. Like, this is what they do for every minute of their workday. They are on the phone talking to customers. So this is not new to them, and it shouldn't be really scary for you. I mean, to them, it's just like you're one of 1,000 people that are going to call them that day. And with that being said, if you can be really nice and really polite and just establish a really good base for the conversation, like be polite when you say hello and ask them very kindly and be aware of your situation, you will probably get approved right then and there just from the tone of the conversation. Another thing that's going to be really important is to have a list of information about your credit just readily available so that you can talk to them about it if things come up, such as your credit score, how many credit cards you currently have, when the last time you got a credit card was, what your total available credit is across all those cards, and things like that. And when you do actually get on the phone with them, you should be calling and acting surprised that you didn't get approved for this credit card, or that you did get approved for this credit card, but with not the limit that you were expecting based on your $10,000 current available credit, your 720 TransUnion score, and your 1 year average age of account history. For example, if you actually pick up the phone, you could say something like, "Hey, I know that I'm supposed to get a response in 5 to 7 business days, but based on my 720 TransUnion score and $10,000 of total available credit, I was hoping to get this reconsidered and get a decision sooner." Because if you don't know the parameters of your credit situation, which is really the only considering factor in whether you should get this credit card or not, it's really going to be a one-sided conversation. You're not going to be able to make a case for yourself.
Let me see, could I get a credit card?
Sir, this is a McDonald's drive-thru. And while being nice to the person on the other line, building some rapport, and having a good conversation with them is really important, knowing your numbers is also really important. And you don't have to have a 720 TransUnion score. You don't have to have $10,000 of available credit, but just knowing these numbers, knowing exactly what you do have and what you're working with can be really, really powerful to show that you are experienced and that you are informed in this decision. You're not just getting a credit card on a whim, you understand the consequences of it and you understand the position that you are currently in. Likewise, you also want to be really informed about the credit card that you're trying to apply for, maybe that you have been approved for just with a lower credit limit. For example, you want to know what its potential APR is, the annual fee, what the points structure looks like for kind of rewards that you get for using the credit cards, and really anything else that you can potentially find out about the credit card. And you want to be able to have these facts and maybe just write them on that same note list and be able to easily slip them into the conversation when appropriate. Another thing is, if you are a credit card churner, if you are someone who is really into credit cards like myself and likes to use them and abuse them for the points and really just go through a bunch of credit cards to get the free rewards that they offer, don't make it seem like you are. Like, it's not going to help your case if you literally tell them that once you hit the $5,000 minimum spend on this credit card, 2 days after you get it, you're just going to close the dang card and open up another one. It's not going to make it a really good case for them to give you this credit card if you aren't going to use it for the long term and rather just want to abuse it. Like, I'm not saying you have to lie about anything. I mean, just don't brag about it. But on the other hand, if you do have a legitimate expense that you are going to be spending on this credit card with, for example, like a home renovation or a down payment on a vehicle, you can definitely let them know that and just let them know that you're interested in getting a credit card to maybe help with this real estate remodel that you're doing, like I'm doing right now with one of my credit cards. Like if the customer representative knows that you're about to spend $10,000 on this credit card the day you get it, and that you're going to keep using the card after, they're probably going to give it to you. And again, I'm not saying you need to lie about any of this stuff. You just definitely shouldn't lie to a bank over the phone. But what I am saying is that if there's any way that you can structure your spending around getting this credit card, it's going to make it really easy for you to get approved. And lastly, guys, if none of this worked for you, you should just really politely thank the customer service rep for their time and then hang up and then call the same number again. So, I mean, what you got to understand is that there are thousands of these people taking these phone calls at this very call center. And it's really easy to get someone else that has a completely different opinion on this, and maybe is just having a better day than the first person you called. Another thing to consider is that these are just people. It's not a computer. It's not like a yes or no in between type of decision. This is a person you're talking to, and the person has a lot of power in swaying the decision in whether you do or don't get this credit card. And usually calling a second time, you'll kind of be familiar with the process, you'll know what to say, and you'll know when they ask you stuff, so you won't be tripping over your words, and you'll probably be able to better present the case for you getting this credit card if you call a second or third time, or maybe even a fourth time. But if you have to call a fifth time, I mean, if you really can't get them to say yes, I want you to reconsider whether you skip the first step in this video, which is applying for a credit card when you only are responsible enough to apply for a credit card. I mean, if you got denied 5 times on the reconsideration line, there's probably something wrong. There's probably something you're missing about your credit, something that was done in a way that isn't favorable to such a degree that absolutely no one is going to say yes to. And I'm not trying to make fun of anyone that has an outstanding situation like a bankruptcy or maybe a solid 400 credit score or several credit cards that they just haven't paid off. I just mean that it's really important to know yourself, know your situation before getting into this. And for example, knowing their situation might entail knowing that Chase has a 524 rule, where you can't get more than 5 credit cards within a 24-month period with the card issuer Chase. Now, if you don't know this, you're going to apply for a 6th credit card and get denied no matter what. But knowing your situation, knowing exactly what you have and what cards you're dealt, that's a nice joke. I'm going to save that one for later, but it definitely probably should cut it here because that really sucked. Understanding everything about your situation is really going to be the key here in determining whether you actually get the credit card that you want or not. And one last tip for you, if you guys do get denied, maybe even after the first time, before you call the rep the second time, ask them why you got denied. Usually they can be extremely helpful because they're pulling up your credit right there. They got a bunch of things and they have all of the qualifications that the bank issuer usually needs, such as Chase Bank might have a list of requirements. And if you ask them which requirement they weren't able to check on your credit, they will tell you, and you can get over this hurdle in the next conversation. I hope this video helped you guys out. If it did, I would greatly appreciate if you could just hit that like button for me because it helps me out with the YouTube algorithm and helps more people see this video. And then if you like this video, I would also recommend you guys hit that subscribe button and the bell notification so you don't miss my next video. And I'll see you guys in that next video.